you can build strong relationships as an introvert also. I'd argue that introverts can build stronger relationships than extroverts. For introverts that are out there, it's tough to kick off the conversations. You got to think of just something silly, right? Or something. If you just notice something that about someone else that aligns with you, like whether it's a hobby or even if they have like the same car as you or whatever, that's an instant approach to break the ice, just to start a conversation. And then as an introvert, once you're in a conversation, it's not so bad.
Welcome to the Impactful Engineer Project. I'm Steve Maxey, and with my co-host and brother Jake, we are here to bring you guidance, fresh ideas, and the tools to help you become an impactful engineer.
Hello, and welcome back to the Impactful Engineer Podcast. Just Steve and I today with another What's on Your Mind episode. I'm going to get right into it. Steve, what's on your mind, brother?
A lot of things have been on my mind lately. But
you had a heck of a week, right?
I've had an interesting week. Yeah. A lot of changes and, just within the organization and a lot of conversations, a lot of good conversations. Learned some stuff, helped other people learn some stuff. It's been good. But I think today, like what I think would be really valuable to talk about is understanding kind of the role of an engineer versus the role of like a key decision maker, right? So someone who's either a leader of a specific project or a department or even the company itself.
Sometimes sometimes they overlap.
They do,
I can hear people thinking, wait a second.
Yeah,
I'm an engineer, and sometimes, or most of the time, I'm a pretty key decision maker.
Oh yeah, I mean that's kind of what we're trained and paid to do, right? Is to make some really hard calls and hard decisions, and but I mean ultimately, depending on the hierarchy of your organization, but in general, engineers have to take their experience and their skill sets to make very important recommendations to the future of either the project or a program or direction of company even, and the dynamic between an engineer and whoever that leader is of that team or whatever, is that the engineer is relied on for the technical detail and the technical expertise to make that critical judgment of that specific problem. And then they give that to the decision maker along with other people on the team who provide their expertise. And it could be from different perspectives. You could have a mechanical and electrical engineer have two different perspectives on the same project. You could have a project manager having a different perspective of the same project, right? And the responsibility of making that decision is ultimately to the leader to take all of those valuable inputs and combine them and make that ultimate judgment call of that singular output.
Good.
And so
yeah, yep.
I think that's like the easiest and simplest way to break it down. But I know a lot of engineers do struggle with this because they put in all of that effort and gone over the data, done the analysis, and they're like, this is by far the best, result of my decision or the work that I've done. And, so this absolutely should be the right thing to do. And, it's not always the case, right? There's some nuances to consider.
Tied to it. You wouldn't think engineers would be, but they're very, like just in general, emotionally. I mean, we're so logically wired, but we are, and we can be emotionally tied and proud of the work that we do, right? So, and rightfully so. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, that's the gist of it in general. But um, so what are like some strategies, to keep inside your head when you're having these conversations? It's really, you have to feel at peace with yourself that you are giving the best advice and the best suggestions to the decision maker. But after that point, you still want to maintain connection with the the project and the discussion. But when you get that call back from the decision maker at which direction we're going to be, if if you and me are on a project, and I say, oh, we should do this because it's mechanically the best thing, and you're like, well, yeah, but if you go a little bit less cool on the mechanical side, but you're also going to be the best on the electrical side, this is the right call. And then if the so we have a difference of opinion, but if the decision maker says, I think Jake's idea is a little bit better for the the goal of this project, so that's what we're going to do. It's my responsibility to do, like, or say, yeah, okay, that's great. Here's my inputs on Jake's idea that I think could possibly improve a little bit, but yeah, let's go 100% on Jake's idea and march forward and do the best possible job on that direction.
Yeah. No, that's a big part of this whole career field is doing exactly what you just said. And so what are some of the hangups that people have? Right? Because you just said something that's very we know it's the right move. We do it all the time. And unless something is worth dying on a hill for, which for me is this is going to result in something that compromises the safety of the people that are going to be doing the work inside this building or whatever they're doing. Like it's in my mind going to lead to something where loss of life could be involved. Like I'm going to die on that hill, right? But if it if if we're on a project and I've done a lot of work and schedule has been established as the key priority, okay? Schedule. We have to hit this date
Yeah,
for whatever
which more
reason.
often than
And there's
enough,
many reasons for
that's,
that, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So hit the date. But sometimes people can have a problem with, well, I haven't been able to do my best work. I need more time. I could put we could dot more I's and cross more T's and just keep going and going and going. And so people like that will have a perfectionist attitude could have a problem with schedule being the top of the priority list. Okay. Assuming that everything's safe, everything's, in my world to code, we've done our due diligence, there's not going to be a bazillion RFIs, we're not going to crash the project in any way. We just have to deliver, right? So I think that falls into the discussion we're having right now as one example, right? So I would be like, okay, quality, although it's kind of weird to say it as it comes out of my mouth, is not the highest priority right now. Schedule is the highest priority. So quality may, quote unquote, dip a little bit. There's a whole nother discussion between what's quality, what's good enough. Are you over designing? Are you under designing? But that's a decision that you would have to make, right? But the leader of the project would be the one telling you schedule is the priority. Everyone said it. It's well established. You have to deliver this day.
Yeah. Yeah. And another thing, aspect, that we all know as engineers that comes into play here is cost, right? So, I mean, it's the golden triangle, right? Schedule, cost, and quality. And you sometimes have to sacrifice that feature set, or
You're always
yeah, that quality standpoint to keep that cost under target and to still meet the schedule, right? And so you have to find that happy medium, but there's always going to be the highest priority, and it's usually schedule. But sometimes it is cost. Those are usually the top two that the projects are kind of around. Not always. I've been on projects that quality was absolutely number one, like when I was in aerospace.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, weird, huh? um, So, but yeah. So as an engineer, you have to kind of swallow that pride a little bit in, because as an engineer, we get super emotionally invested in the work we're doing, as you said, and we're very proud of it, especially if it's something that, either you drive by a building, you're like, yeah, I was a major player on that building being put together, or you're in a retail store and you see a product on a shelf, you're like, I designed that. There's such an enormous level of pride that's associated with your work because of that. I mean, a lot of us went into engineering because we wanted that sort of attachment to our work, right? Because we want to have that fulfillment. Um, but you have to understand the reality of the project scopes and adjust as best you can, but you still need to provide your best work and best input into the project as you possibly can within the confines of reality.
It's well said. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, yes. I'm not sure what else
Yeah.
to say to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
But
it's a really,
it's the being okay with that, right? It's the not fighting that, because the more you fight that, I think we're trying to talk about and bring to the surface, like, what ripple effect does it have if one of your team members is like, I'm going to die on every single fucking hill that I can die on. That's what I'm going to do. And it just so happens that every single point of contention in a project, they just want to die on the hill. I think that's probably where we're going with it, and that's probably one of the biggest things I've seen that have caused this ripple effect in everything, the communication style, the ability, the morale, like the ability to get projects done. It's never been like the whole group is doing this. It's always been, the one person that just has to do it their way, and it's just like, nope. And then they don't know how to convince or influence people to do it their way. They don't know how to do that the correct way, and so it's literally just this block wall, you know,
yeah.
demanding
So
things. Yeah,
yeah, and I guess that segues great into what what are you thinking about lately, or what's on your mind today?
yeah, because we're done with that other one. Am I getting too close to
Well,
something that's really happened to you?
no, no.
You're
Oh,
like, oh god, we got to
I
stop
mean,
talking about
it
this.
happens to every team, right?
Yeah,
No, but you're talking about before we started recording, we were kind of brainstorming a couple ideas here, but you mentioned the relationships, and and how you don't want to run into
okay.
that block wall, and so I think it's a perfect
I'm starting
segue,
to
and it's
put
a
it together what you mean. So
yeah,
yeah, I would. So how to not like remedy that, but how to be in a great position to solve something like that. Yeah,
yeah,
and that's definitely, in my mind, it's either one, complete complete obedience by the entire team and some delusional level of respect for one person. If you're that person, wow, amazing. That's going to be really easy for you to go, okay, well, if I have complete obedience and everybody just respects the shit out of me for no reason, I can just say, we're going to do it this way. And they're going to go, yeah, yes, sir. Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Welcome to the military.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like that's
Yeah,
the
kind of. I know.
perspective. And then,
Yeah, that's the outsider
but
looking in
welcome.
version, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But hey, never going to happen.
Yeah,
Just
oh, I
letting you
know.
know right now. So, if you want to have that certain level of influence, to be able to have those candid conversations and really get through to a group, and really show them like how important you think your perspective is, and then you have the facts, right, which everybody will look at, of course, but there's this whole other part of it that is building relationships, and that takes a lot of time. And even if you don't care about being um, going that path and building working relationships with all of your colleagues, or as many as you can, and having good rapport, and just you know going that extra distance so that you guys know each other, that maybe you even hang out with each other, you know each other's likes and dislikes, you know a lot more about your colleagues than just showing up and doing your job. even if you're not into doing that directly, it's really important that you try to put measures in place that will happen, right? So schedule things that you can do together. Um, put yourself in a position where you are working on a team that collaborates frequently, that you're not just working by yourself all the time. Just the more face time you can get with people, the more you're going to break down all those barriers, the more you're going to get to know each other. And then when these things happen, the easier it's going to be completely open with each other. And that level of openness is going to be, you know, a percentage of, how much you guys have gotten along, how much you trust each other, how much trust you've built. But you can't do any of these things if you're not getting in front of people. So, one really easy way to think about it is just to make sure that you're in a position where you have FaceTime with people. Um, and if you don't like a whole lot of FaceTime with people, you can try to get yourself on a project where it's a scheduled routine part of the job to have meetings and have face to face time with people, and then maybe pick a one day a week or something where you guys have lunch together. Like, make it very simple like that. You don't need to be in everybody's cubicle or office or in their face all the time if that's not what that's not what you're into. So, but
Yeah, and go ahead.
I was just going to wrap it up. Like, if you want to be an influential part of this whole change that you think should be happened, if you're that person that's starting to want to die on the hill for something, which is great because it means you believe in it. If you've built over the last year or two relationships with all these people, it's going to be so much easier to say, hey, really, I have something that I really am passionate about. Can we talk about this and actually do something about this? The reception is going to be much better.
Hey, my fellow impactful engineers. If there's one thing that you could do to help out this community, it's to keep listening to the podcast, but also that if you found value in it, to share it with one person, give us a 5-star review, or even leave a text review. It'll only take a few seconds of your time. Find that person that you think could enjoy some of this or learn from it, and pass on the good word. Now back to the show.
Yeah, and when you put in that work to build those relationships, it opens the door to be more direct. Because they trust that what you're saying is it's coming from the heart, right? You're coming from a place of wanting things to be better. And I mean that's just a good book to reference is Radical Candor, right, by Kim Scott. I recommend that book for anyone to read. But being able to challenge someone directly, but them understanding that you're coming from a place of empathy, that's the most powerful way to communicate and to help influence people.
Yeah, and I'm over here just like laughing in my head because it's a must for me. Because when I get heated about something, I start to swear a lot, and I start to be kind of direct, and my face changes, and I'm just like, man, these goddamn, and I get into it, but that's how you know I'm really passionate about it. But
I have no idea what you're talking about.
if I didn't if I didn't have if I didn't have that relationship and trust with people and that understanding, man, my message would come across completely different. So I need that. I absolutely need that because if you've been on the other side of a Jake rant, not really a rant, but something passionate that's coming out of my soul, I'm trying to impress the importance on you. It's very, it's very much a force, an overwhelming force coming from my way. So just having that understanding from the person receiving it, it helps me tremendously because they go, man, I do know what you're saying and I feel you and I hear it, but damn, could you back off a little bit with, it's just like, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. But you wouldn't be in that position if you didn't build those relationships earlier. Right.
That's right.
From kind of easing into that rapport and the trust, like building that wall of trust, between or bridge of trust.
I couldn't imagine being the quiet one and and for a
Yeah, and then
year,
just
right? Oh, he
instantly
just
turn
kind
it
of
to
like,
11.
produces and he does good. And yeah, we like Jake. And then all of a sudden you hit a topic I'm really passionate about. And I just come in just flying in through the wall. They're going to be like, who
Yeah.
the hell is this guy?
Yeah, I know.
It would have been
Yeah.
really bad. So,
Yeah. So establish your baseline.
yeah, exactly. Uh, and personally, I like to do it. I like to be. I purposely create these situations so that I can get. I think it's fun, getting to know people, being friends, finding common ground. I'm getting a bunch of the guys together to go run a Spartan race, and we love food. Of course, we're very passionate about eating food, and we're pretty good at it. So, we find out what we like to eat. I find out what everyone likes to eat, and if it's a baking item, like I bake. Like that's what I do. I do a lot of it. So I bring it in. It's like, what do you want? Oh man, we're gonna mouse some Boston cream pie tomorrow.
I was going to
It's just
say
like,
that Boston cream pie you texted me
yeah,
looked
and I'm
looked
all
pretty
proud of it
delicious.
too, right? I'm like sending you a picture. Nailed it. I don't know if you ever seen that Nailed It show, but it's like they have these very professional bakes, right? That this God, I already forget the guy's name, but the French guy, he's a master, right? So he does the bakes. He describes how they're supposed to be done, and then it comes out looking perfect, like this portrait of somebody, really tough bakes. And then they take these average like at home bakers that just suck and bring them in, and they go, all right, you got to do that. And so then they like unveil it at the end next to the professional one. It's just the
That's
funniest
amazing.
damn thing you've ever seen. It's the stupidest show, but it's so funny. And they say, nailed it, you know. So sent you the picture of that one, and that's what that meant. Nailed it. And it just kind of
Great.
looked like a little off. I'm looking at it, I'm going, oh man, like my ganache is just like a lava, like a hardened mountain of molten chocolate, and then the professional one's like glossy and smooth, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, nailed it.
Like a hard shell.
Yeah, exactly. Oh god.
It still
But
looked pretty awesome though.
yeah,
Look good.
I do it on purpose. I leverage my personality and stuff like that to do that, and it helps so much. But you don't have to be like me and come flying in and just like I have to enjoy work in that way to build the relationships. You can do it in a purely professional way too, without being a jackass like me. So
Yeah. And you can build strong relationships as an introvert also. I'd argue that introverts can build stronger relationships than extroverts. Um, but for introverts that are out there, it's tough to kick off the conversations. Um, but you just have to force yourself to. And as an introvert myself, or I call myself an extroverted introvert. Um, but that initial ice breaking, um, you got to think of just something silly, right? Or something. If you just notice something that about someone else that aligns with you, like whether it's a hobby or even if they have like the same car as you or whatever, that's an instant approach to break the ice, just to start a conversation. And then as an introvert, once you're in a conversation, it's not so bad. Then you can really start building that rapport. And then introverted people typically have a lot more empathy, and so they can really connect with people. And so I think being an introvert can have a lot of leverage once you get past that initial ice breaking moment.
yeah, yeah, I agree. And I don't know so much about being out, maybe at a not like non-work related outing, but you spend a lot of time at work. So let's talk about a work in the office related like approach. And it's super simple. You find out who has expertise in a certain area, and you're working on something in that area, and boom, you're done. You email, you text, you figure out how they like to be approached, whatever. And you just say, hey, I'm working on this. I've done a lot of the legwork. I'm at this kind of like sticking point where I think I want someone's expert opinion on what I've got going on so far, and I'd love it if we could spend 10 to 15 minutes on it so that I can show you what I got, see what you have to say, and then I can continue on this and get this wrapped up. Like that always worked for me. So that's super easy. You don't even have to talk to them. That's an email. and then a follow up
Yeah.
if it's a day goes by and they don't, hey, have you had a chance to consider this? Because one, hopefully, I mean, most people like to give their expert opinion at work and think that they're contributing to someone's success other than their own. But yeah, they're going to want to help you. Trust me. Just, I mean, that's
Oh yeah.
super easy. I would just pick up the phone and call them, and if they didn't answer, I'd run over their desk. But I'm more intrusive than most people, so I would just send that. I would email it. That's super easy.
Yeah. And we all know that engineers love being the technical expert of whatever subject, right? And so you can play that to your advantage.
If
Um,
someone emailed me and said, Jake, I wanted to like talk about this whole leadership thing, and I'm going to be trying to push this initiative through in like a year or so, or maybe they think they're going to do it tomorrow. They're like, what experience do you have with that? And I'd be all over that.
oh yeah,
I would
in a heartbeat.
love to talk about that, of course.
Yeah.
Um, branch circuiting, not so much, but it's part of my job, so I have to do that.
Yeah. No, I understand that. Awesome. So listeners out there, what do you think about these two topics? Please submit any questions that you may have, or some advice that you may have, or any situations that you've ran into that you would like some assistance on. And you can email us at questions, that's plural, at impactfulengineer.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, and I'd like to see more engagement on LinkedIn, but of course, we're not pushing LinkedIn so hard right now. But send us a message or get on there too, because we do check it fairly often. And then our personal pages we're roaming around pretty good, so bug us on there too for sure. Give us a follow. Uh, Send us any questions you have. Um, we're looking for like a lot of feedback on
Yes.
not just the podcast, um, but even in like someone said, "Hey, your episodes don't have episode numbers," and I was like, "Oh, Steve, you just told me that one." I'm like, "Oh,
Yep.
really?" Because I put in episode numbers when I upload them, but it's just the title, and then there's no like thing at the lower right or details that say, "Oh, this is episode 8 or something." So I'm going to put that in. Anything like that to get us, refined, and ultimately the goal, of course, is to reach more people, have more conversations. Questions lead to answers, lead to more questions, lead to more answers, lead to perspectives, leads to more discussion, and you ultimately start really figuring out that you don't know a whole lot, right? There's this huge gap between what you do know and and where you want to be and what you want to know. And that's usually through conversations, asking questions, getting people's perspectives. And then really the reason we want to reach so many people is that so we can help anyone who's interested in getting into engineering, right? And give them that, help them, give them that boost. Say it is for you. It is within reach. There's a lot of people out there that are probably not considering themselves to be engineer material for one reason or the other. That really are. And so we're hoping that we can influence people that way. And the only way that you can really have results is if people are aware that this is even going on. So long-winded way to say, please share the show.
Yeah, because engineering is super fun, super fulfilling, um, and we'd love to see the field grow with more young talent out there. So reach out to us, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yep. And if you're get onto Google and check out, type in ACE mentorship program. It's a great program for high school students to be a part of. They're in many, many big cities. If you're anywhere near a big city, just look it up. Um, I'll be a part of, Boston's chapter, of course, this year. But look up ACE mentorship for sure. Um, Great way to get some mentorship and get involved in the field.
Awesome. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Bye. Hey guys, I hope you had a great time listening. Maybe you learned something new. Maybe you got inspired,
or at least took one thing away that you'd be able to use. Maybe you just had a good laugh. Impactful Engineering's hope and mission is that through this podcast, we can play a small part in expanding the reach and awareness of engineering and all of its many areas of application. The multiple engineering career paths available can be hugely rewarding as part of a fulfilled life, creating opportunity to impact nearly everyone in the modern world. An engineer's work helps to foster creation of new technologies, create safe and comfortable environments in which people can work, and lends to the sustainable future of everyone on the planet. The world needs more impactful engineers. Our vision is to provide engineers with the perspective and the tools to allow themselves the opportunity to become the most impactful engineers they can be. Included in our vision is to grow the impactful engineering community to a point where we can provide full ride scholarships to students in every single U.S. state every single year. This is an enormous goal, and with your help, we can get there. To start, we will continue to execute this mission in the way that we know how, having conversations, telling stories, and talking about what we find interesting and are passionate about. If the episode made you think, made you object, made you think you could possibly be doing something more with your day, or brought about an idea that you could spend more time on developing further, please share the show or recommend it to your friends. Even if you didn't personally think it was a huge help, there may be someone that you know that could benefit from it, and that's all we can ask for. Until next time on the Impactful Engineer Podcast.